We've got the incredible Counterpoints team here, Ryan Grimm and Emily Jasinski. We've all been holding down the fort, and we're having a great time. But with that, why don't we introduce our guest? This is Parker Short. So Parker, tell us a little bit about who you are before we remind the audience of where they might have seen you before.
Well, hey,
Yeah.
my name is Parker Short.
Okay.
I'm the chairman of the Young Democrats of Georgia, and I'm a delegate from our 4th Congressional District.
Okay.
Which one is that?
It's just east of Atlanta, so it's most of DeKalb County, bits of Rockdale and Gwinnett. They just keep redrawing our lines.
Who is that? Hank Johnson?
Hank Johnson.
Okay.
Yep.
right.
Nation's leading advocate
Ryan.
for court reform.
Knowledge.
But it's an important area.
It
Obviously.
is. It's a super important area. You know, I like to. DeKalb is just about the most Democratic county in Georgia. You know, I was born and raised there, up in North DeKalb, in a city named after a Confederate general. It used to be all red.
So it is DeKalb.
It is.
I've always thought it was DeKalb.
Here we say
Yeah.
DeKalb. I hear it in Illinois. Somebody said DeKalb. I was like, oh.
Okay.
But no, when I was growing up, you know, in high school, I had all, you know, Republican state rep, Republican state senator, Republican congressman, and then I worked for John Ossoff's 2015 campaign or 2017 campaign as an intern when I was just a little kid. Started knocking doors, started a high school Democrats club, and now there are no more Republicans in North DeKalb.
Interesting.
So yeah,
You scared them away.
Yeah, you scared them away.
Yeah.
I think you might have scared them away with some of your dancing moves. So, Parker, that is how we're just gonna have to introduce you to the
Thank
chat
you.
here, my friend Mac, producer Mac. Can we cue this up, please, and put this up there on the screen? Emily was very excited when she got a DM from you. They were like, Parker, yeah, and it was
rare.
Yeah, that's right. The first time a male incoming DM to Emily actually resulted in something. So this is Parker. You guys recognized him.
So
Now, Saagar, what song is this? We
What
can't
is it?
play it.
Not like us by Kendrick
Not like
Lamar.
us.
Come
that's
on,
in
now.
the arena this
That is
week,
in
right?
the arena.
You
Parker,
can tell
what
what
night
song
was
it is
that?
just
So
by how
that
Yeah,
was
just by how he's
was-
so hyped.
That was when Kamala came to Atlanta for her first rally,
Okay.
big announcing. And, you know, it was extraordinarily exciting because it started off with Stacey Abrams, who's registered 800,000 voters in the state of Georgia. Then our two senators, John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, who flipped the state blue and allowed Joe Biden to achieve everything in his legislative agenda. And then we had Megan Thee Stallion. And then they tell me that Kamala Harris is coming out and they play one of my favorite songs. So I'm excited for the next generation. And, of course, I was having fun with all my Georgia Democrat friends at GSU.
So you were pumped up. All right. So
Oh, yeah.
Parker, young guy, tell us. Michelle Obama, one of the things we're going to talk about, talks about the feeling of a pit in their stomach yesterday. Kind of a little subtle dig at Joe Biden there, since he literally was. I don't believe she didn't even say his name, which we'll get to in a little bit. So then, as somebody part of the activist faithful in the state of Georgia, obviously a critical state for Joe Biden, barely won it by what, some 10,000 votes.
11,779.
Oh wow! Well, look at this kid. I'm dealing with a professional over here.
A young Ryan.
Hey,
Grimm.
Trump-
this
Trump
is a young
remembered.
Ryan Grimm.
Young
Trump
Ryan got the
remembered.
hair.
Also, and let's
Yeah.
let's put Parker in context too.
Yeah.
You were telling us earlier that your journey was what, Bernie, Warren, Biden, or like,
Well,
where do you put your politics?
I like to consider myself. I like to consider myself, you know, a progressive, whatever that word may mean. I am a
Okay.
fan of the show. I
Yeah.
will say. I tell my friends to watch it. My favorite news is the PBS NewsHour. I'm breaking points. So you know, I definitely.
Yeah.
I'm a Union Democrat. I'm a
Okay.
Southern Democrat, but you know, I voted for Bernie in 2020.
Sure.
You know, so you know, I definitely consider myself a little bit more on the left, but you know, I want to get things done.
Okay, so tell us then about what it was like for you and all the people around you in the interim after the debate. You can speak freely now, all
Yeah,
right? He's gone. All right,
I
so
know.
don't worry about it. All right,
I mean,
so
he's
like,
still the president.
what was it
Sure.
like? Yeah, well, you know, yeah,
He's not
for our
watching.
purposes,
He's not gone,
good.
yeah.
All right, so what was it like? What was it like in that 3-week period or whatever after the debate? How were you guys feeling? And then talk to us about what it was like when Kamala when Joe Biden dropped out. Kamala's a presumptive nominee. Were you guys excited? Like, talk to us about that feeling,
Oh, yeah.
relief, etc.
Oh yeah, so I'll just start with the debate. Look,
Okay.
I got invited to the Georgia Democrat debate party.
Yeah.
And I did not go. I was you know, not as a slight. I
Yeah.
went to the Gwinnett Young Democrats debate first.
Okay.
I watched the
was the
first
hip-
5-10 minutes.
It was a real party.
I watched the first
That's all you need.
5-10
That's all you
minutes,
need.
and then I was
Yeah.
like, I need to go home. I need to go home. And you know what? I love and respect Joe Biden. He has been a great public servant. He was elected as the youngest senator in the country. He's had a very interesting journey. But you know what? Thank God that he had the political sense to step aside and put his country first, because Trump has put his party and himself over his country and the Constitution. And Joe Biden knew that he wasn't the candidate and it wasn't the time. And I respect the man, and push comes to shove, there was no way I was voting for Donald Trump. But, you know, after that debate, I'm like, okay, what's going to happen,
Yeah.
because I was a delegate, and we were wringing our hands for a couple weeks, and I would have if you would have asked me 3 months ago if Democrats were going to win Georgia, I would have been very frank with you.
Yeah.
I would have said no.
Uh-huh.
I love Georgia politics, and I didn't think we were setting ourselves up to win. We are now setting ourselves up to win.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can I ask a
Yeah, go
question
ahead.
on
Yeah.
that? Because I've been reading some conservative media this morning, even, but throughout the week, saying that, every convention, obviously, we all understand this is super stage managed.
Mhm.
It's meant to put the party looking like it has the most hype as is humanly possible. And it's, they're kind of used to doing that. They've done it before. So some people in conservative media are like, that magic that Michelle
Yeah.
Obama referenced yesterday, it's not real. It's a sugar high during the week of the convention. It sounds to me like what you're saying, Parker, is, and this has been my impression just walking through the arena yesterday, it actually does feel real. It feels quite electric to
Really
me.
does.
People seem genuinely excited about
That's
Kamala Harris, which is interesting because just a couple months ago, people were worried about Kamala Harris.
Mhm.
What's the change?
Well, you know what? I will say, as a Georgia Democratic
Mhm.
activist or whatever you want to call it, she has made every single right decision. I have young friends in Georgia politics, in the Democratic Party, just about the most far left and most far right person you're going to find in Georgia Democratic Party. They both about jumped out of their seats when Tim Walz was the choice.
Interesting.
I think she has made so many wonderful choices throughout her campaign. We've got 24 campaign offices in the state of Georgia. I love her staff in the state of Georgia. They are really doing a good job.
Yeah, but isn't
Look,
it Biden's staff? Isn't just a Biden?
yeah,
holdover?
but Biden's staff, they had hired Quentin Folks, who
Okay.
ran Warnock's campaign to be the deputy campaign manager. So
Yeah.
they had a lot of Georgia focus, and all the folks that we had on the ground have been doing it for years.
Okay.
Look, I love Stacey Abrams, but too many folks came from out of state on that election.
Yeah.
You want people who have been there doing it, and they have such a great campaign. They're out there knocking doors, and as I said, 11,779 votes made the difference that time. That's a field margin.
Mhm.
That is a field margin in a presidential race, and the
What does
way
that mean? Explain that.
well, that's basically, the energy and folks out there knocking doors when you got volunteers like me, who when I was a little kid, I went and knocked tens and thousands of doors for John Ossoff and my state house and state senate candidate.
Uh-huh.
And, I organized my high school Democrats club, and we knocked more than 300,000 doors for this guy that ran for state house up in North DeKalb. And you know what? He won by 1,400 votes. And then Lucy McBath won the seat that John Ossoff lost by 3,000 votes. So it shows that you can really fight and you can get in there and make the difference. A field margin is basically like, are you out there? Are you doing the work? Are you organized? And look, we're making the difference. And I will just say, I think the most important thing is down ballot candidates. I love to tell people, who's your state house rep, who's your state senator, who's your county commissioner, because that is really what impacts your life. And when you get engaged with those elections, we've got young folks running for state house and state senate in Georgia. One of my best friends is 23. He's a middle school math teacher in Atlanta, and he's running against an anti-education Republican. And the reason I became president is because I was his vice president. He stepped down.
I'm gonna
He
let
said,
that slide. That
Yeah.
comment, because I like you, Parker. But go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. I'm curious. We hear a lot about Gaza and how that affects young people.
Yeah.
What was the case when it came to Gaza and young people's support in Georgia for Biden, and has that changed with Harris? And where do you think it will go if we don't get a ceasefire deal and the slaughter just continues, which looks like, everybody's deal's right around the corner. We'll believe it when we see it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's truly just heartbreaking what is going on. And I recently graduated from the University of Michigan, and there was a lot of campus protests there. And, I was just heartbroken by the situation. I have not felt that it has been handled well. And I think Joe Biden particularly has evolved in the past couple months in his handling of it. But I have to respect and appreciate when Kamala came into the spotlight, when she came into her own, and she has the ability to make these decisions. Before her rally in Detroit, in Michigan, where 78% of the city of Dearborn, 100,000 voters, went and voted uncommitted, she met with the uncommitted movement before her rally. She's hearing us. Look, all respect to Joe Biden, he wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And she is out here. She is trying. And, Trump is doing the exact opposite. I think if you want a candidate that at all values human rights in the Middle East, I think Kamala is the clear choice, because Trump just tried to nuke the deal by calling them and pressuring Israel, which is not only extraordinarily illegal, but undiplomatic. He's literally trying to stop peace from being found.
So, Parker, I want to ask you, because you have got intimate knowledge of the state of Georgia. You're talking about those 11,000 votes. Who are the swing? What's like the swing demographic this time around? Because for us looking in, it's really interesting, right? Because we've got Brian Kemp, pretty popular governor.
Yep.
Raffensperger survives despite Trump coming in. against him. But clearly, there is a Kemp Kamala
Yep.
voter out there.
There are
Talk to me about that
50,000
Yeah.
voters in
Yeah.
the state of Georgia that
Yeah.
voted for Brian Kemp and Raphael Warnock at the same time.
That's crazy to me.
That
So
is
who-
crazy.
Who are they? Yeah.
They're the wine moms
Okay.
up in
All right.
Dunwoody that I've been canvassing. You know, they're the soccer moms.
Yeah.
They're the voters that aren't really engaged, or folks that turn out, or folks that don't fill out their ballot all the way.
Okay.
You know, it's very strange how it works. But in 2020, the candidate that got the most votes in the Senate runoff wasn't Ossoff or Warnock. It was the Republican candidate for Public Service Commissioner, Bubba McDonald. And you know why?
Is his name actually
the
Bubba?
top.
His name is Lauren
Yeah.
Bubba McDonald. And there's a Lauren Bubba McDonald Jr.
Oh, of course there is.
Yeah,
That's
it's Georgia.
incredible.
That's Georgia
like-
Republican
I like
politics.
it.
Of course he
That's-
He got more votes than anybody because Republicans in the state of Georgia were not going to go out and vote for, David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, who truly represent elitism in this country.
Sure.
And they abandoned our state. I mean, they're focused on stock prices instead of Georgia.
David Perdue had the greatest ad in political history. It said officially exonerated in his ad.
Oh, is that-
Beautiful.
what was that again?
Incredible messaging.
He's
I-
the dollar store
he
guy.
was
and
accused of
Dollar
something.
General.
Dollar
Yeah.
General. I apologize. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
No,
mine.
I mean,
Get mine mixed up.
insider trading and
Yeah. Yeah.
but
So I have a
officially
question.
exonerated.
Well, I think this is a perfect time for us to take some questions from the chat.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And we're gonna probably wrap our
Let's-
friend over here, unless you have one last.
Yeah,
one.
I just
Yeah.
while Saagar's looking for a question from the
Okay.
chat, I just want to ask because it seems to me that there is an element of Kamala Harris going from arguably, actually statistically, the most unfavorable vice president in modern history to somebody who now
Mhm.
has, as we just talked about, this really legitimate energy around her. It's real.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, is part of that just because young people like yourself are so excited that you don't have to vote for Joe Biden? Is that what's driving some of the enthusiasm here? Or is there something
yeah.
about Kamala Harris?
I don't think it's just that. As I said, I think Kamala has made every single right decision since she stepped into the spotlight. I've been very impressed by the way she's managing her campaign. But, it's not just about Joe Biden. I think the truth of it is the fact that he stepped down shows something in American politics, shows that he was willing to put himself aside and look for something new, look for something fresh. And voters respect that, young and old. I think everybody is excited. I don't think this is a sugar high. Somebody asked me this question the other day, and I like to think, we had to go watch Joe Biden go up there and not be able to talk to Donald Trump on abortion rights.
Got it.
I saw
not
one
be able to
question
tear
in
'em
here
up.
that said, "How do we ask questions?"
Wrong
You wanna
chat.
tell
Talk-
but yeah,
oh,
tell
yeah,
people
I
how to do
apologize.
that. Yeah.
We are taking our questions from our locals premium subscribers. Of course, we do have that promotion going on right now for 1 month free trial. BreakingPoints.com. DNC free is the promo code. So the one question that the chat has for you is Parker, how do you get young people excited about politics? Not everybody
Yeah.
is a nerd like you knocking doors. That's no knock, by the way, because I
No,
was just like
no.
you.
Hey,
Whenever
I'm a very
Yeah.
proud nerd. I worked hard
Okay.
for my public policy degree, but I got interested in it at a young age because I lost my dad.
Yeah.
He was in a labor union that kept my family out of debt. I knew what Social Security was
Mm-hmm.
because Survivor Social Security, third Wednesday of every month, that's when we could go to the grocery store. And not everybody has that lived experience of knowing what the impact of public policy in your community. But you know what? I know everybody drives around in their city and sees something they don't like, sees something that's inefficient. My favorite saying is my grandpa said this on his deathbed. The nurse asked him, "Are you allergic to anything?" He said, "Incompetence." And I look around government and I see too much incompetence and inefficiency, especially in local government. And if you want to see change, if you want things to be better, you can affect that change. I know a 23-year-old running for state house in Georgia, and he's going to win.
Let me just back that point up.
Yeah.
I was raised by a single mom on SSDI, which is a derivative of Social Security and food stamps, and it was quite visible. Exactly, you could see, okay, the government has done a thing, and our life is better today.
Mm.
Yep.
And a couple weeks later, your life's a little worse.
Mhm.
Government does the thing again, your life's better for a couple weeks. You got the Nutri-Grain bars,
Yeah.
like the good ones,
Yeah.
with the name brand.
All right, now that we've got our SSDI,
So yeah,
Oh.
but you're right. It connects
it's
you.
a joke. It's a joke.
It connects you to the value of
Yeah.
government.
I agree.
No, it's
so
really
any
true.
last
Thank you,
any
Ryan.
last words, Parker? Where can people find you?
So look, y'all can find me on Instagram at parker.short. I don't really want to be an influencer. I don't really want to do this. I
And
just
yet you
want
are.
to-
Yeah,
I
you
just
are.
want to be an
Come on,
organizer.
41,000 followers.
I
on
want to
Instagram,
I want to
bro.
keep pushing
Yeah.
Georgia forward.
Okay.
There's a lot of progress to be made. Our state as our state's let our people down. And you make up that point, Ryan, about SSDI. When Brian Kemp got elected governor, he changed the standards for Medicaid, specifically peach care, which is for children. And I lost my health care. And I was a little
Asshole.
kid. Yeah. Don't get me started on Brian Kemp.
All right.
But no, thank y'all for having me. Go to the youngdemsofga.org. We're having a convention next weekend in
Where's my invite,
Atlanta.
please? Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
we'd love to have y'all. We're gonna have a lot of great surrogates from the campaign, a lot of great young folks. Although, Chicago got the DNC, Atlanta got the Young Democrats of Georgia convention, and I
Okay.
promise you it's going to be far more lit, and I'm going to bring the energy. So I hope to see all y'all college students there at Georgia Tech. Get your tickets.
Are you going
We
to
were
be
dancing with Bill
Are you
John.
going to be dancing? That's what everyone
Anything to get the young people to
Anything
vote
that
and
gets
make
them
a change in their
Perfect.
community.
I love
All right,
it.
well, we're
Thank
gonna
you.
do a few
Can
more
we, Matt? Can we get the video up there again?
Yeah, one last video.
One
Everybody
last video.
just a reminder. I mean, if you're going to come in
So
here,
good.
we're going to have
and
to
so
roast you.
viral, by the way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it
viral.
genuinely was funny, and I actually think it's quite sweet.
I was just having a good time.
Yeah,
Chris-
look, we're happy for you.
Crystal
We're
was so
happy for you.
excited
can
about this
tell. Thank
interview.
you.
Crystal was so sad she couldn't be here. She loved these videos.
Yeah, she Crystal sends her best. She's stuck in the airport, and we feel bad for her.
But-
All right, Parker, we're gonna let you go, my
Thanks,
friend.
so
Parker.
much. I
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
stopping
it.
by.
It was truly an honor.
It was really a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show. Help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.